I never thought a night like that would end with me running barefoot through the city, silk sheets still clinging to my skin. I had woken up in chaos, alone, tangled in the wreckage of Victoria Sinclair's penthouse, a name I'd only ever seen in gossip columns. My first instinct wasn't to stay, or to ask questions. It was to run. The next morning, my shoebox apartment in Queens felt like a safe haven, until he showed up. Caleb Vance. Perfectly pressed suit, polished shoes, a man who looked like he'd been cut straight from a Brooks Brothers ad. He held out a check, $1 million. His voice was smooth, but his eyes gave him away. Take it. Leave New York. Don't come back. For a heartbeat, I almost did. My hand hovered over the money, $1 million staring me in the face. But then it hit me. A voice that wasn't mine, sharp and cutting the back of my mind. Once he takes it, I'll have him arrested. I'll tell Tori the man in her bed was me. I'll marry into her fortune while he rots in prison. My chest went cold. I pulled my hand back. Caleb's smile faltered. He tried again, $2 million this time. Still, I said no. His perfect mask cracked, frustration leaking through as he hissed threats about the Sinclairs tearing me apart. But before I could answer, the pounding of footsteps echoed up the stairwell. Men in black suits filled my doorway like a scene from a movie. Their leader, stone-faced, commanding, looked at me. "Mr. Hayes, Miss Sinclair would like to see you." Caleb lunged, whispering poison in my ear. "Don't go with them. You'll never come back." But I'd heard his kind of promise before, and I wasn't falling for it again. I told him coldly, "Stay out of my business." Then I walked out with the men, his jealousy burning so hot behind me it felt like fire licking at my back. What waited on the other side was a world I'd never touched. A sprawling Greenwich mansion with sunlight pouring through glass like liquid gold. And at the center of it all, Victoria Sinclair, draped in a red dress that clung to her like it had been designed by the gods themselves. She didn't rise. She didn't rush. She just looked at me, cool and unshaken, and asked, "Were you the one in my room last night?" I swallowed, my throat dry. "Yes." And in that moment, everything shifted. Because the last time, at least in the vision that haunted me, I had taken Caleb's money. I had lied. He had stepped into my place, claimed her, married her. And me? I'd been left to rot. But this time, she said the words that changed everything. "We'll be married. In 1 month. You'll move in here." Caleb's face went pale. Mine? I could barely breathe, because this was real. A second chance. And I wasn't about to waste it. She asked for my Venmo. I thought it was a joke, until my phone buzzed. "Victoria Sinclair sent you $5 million. $5 million. My hands shook just holding the phone. She studied my face, unfazed. If that's not enough, let me know. I wasn't used to wealth like this. To her, it was spending money. To me, it was salvation. It meant my grandmother in the hospital had a chance. Caleb sputtered, desperate to stop her. But Victoria dismissed him like a child. And before I could catch my breath, her mother swept into the room, graceful, commanding, untouchable. She handed me a set of keys. "A little welcome gift," she said with a smile. It was a Maybach, a car you couldn't even buy. Not really, unless you were someone like them. And as the weight of that key settled into my palm, the truth hit me harder than anything else. I wasn't just in their world now. I was being claimed by it. The Sinclairs weren't just wealthy. They were old money. The kind of dynasty that could bend the city to its will. And the moment the tabloids caught wind of me, they knew what was at stake. A scandal was an option. So marrying me? That was their version of damage control. Mrs. Sinclair pressed the car keys into my hand with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Don't be silly. And thank you. You may have just cured my daughter." I froze. Cured her? She leaned in, lowering her voice like she was handing me state secrets. "Victoria has never shown interest in men. Not once. No boyfriends, no dates. Nothing. But you—" Her eyes flicked to the faint scratch marks on my collarbone. The smile widened. "You're different. You could give her a normal life. A family. Maybe even a grandchild by next year." My face burned. Because she was right. Victoria Sinclair, the untouchable goddess of New York, hadn't flinched away from me. Her body had reacted, and that terrified me more than anything. Victoria, sharp as ever, must have read our conversation in her mother's eyes. She cleared her throat and cut in coldly. I'm marrying you out of responsibility. Don't get any other ideas. It was a warning. Don't fall for her. Don't dream too big. I smiled faintly anyway. Don't worry, Miss Sinclair. I understand. For just a second, she blinked, like she wasn't used to being told no. Every man in the city worshipped her. And here I was acting like I couldn't care less. Mrs. Sinclair, though, wasn't convinced. Her perfect plan of a normal daughter and future grandchildren felt like it was slipping through her fingers. She pressed harder. You should move, and immediately. You're getting married anyway. Might as well start settling in. I almost refused, but then I caught Caleb's glare, dark, murderous, promising trouble. And I knew, if I stayed away, he'd make his move. So I agreed. The first thing I did with Victoria's money wasn't buy a car or a suit or a taste of the life I'd stumbled into. I went straight to the hospital, paid off every last bill, hired a nurse, made sure my grandmother, my only family, was safe. In my other life, the one I barely escaped, she died alone because I couldn't afford to save her. Not this time. Not again. A week later, duffel bag in hand, I stepped into the Sinclair mansion. My new life began in a bed so soft I never wanted to get up, meals so lavish they felt like fiction. Caviar, wagyu, crab flown in from oceans I'd never seen. It felt like I'd won the lottery. But I knew better. Comfort was a trap. To survive in this world, I had to become more than just a lucky outsider. I trained, I studied, I rebuilt myself piece by piece. When Victoria returned from a business trip, I caught it, the flicker in her eyes when she saw me again. Just a spark, gone in an instant, but her mother saw it too, and she pounced. Ethan, why don't you move into Tori's room tonight? Victoria shut it down instantly. No. I exhaled, relieved. We weren't married yet. Not officially. But Caleb? He wasn't letting go. He hovered, dripping venom. Every thought radiated off him like poison. Trailer trash. He has no idea what's coming. He won't be the one at the altar. I will. And then came the gala. A glittering ballroom of chandeliers and champagne. Victoria radiant at my side. Every camera in the room drinking us in. I hated the spotlight. Slipped away for air. That's when I saw Caleb, and heard his plan. Once he drinks that wine, he's finished. I've got 10 models waiting upstairs. Let's see him explain that to Tori. The rage in me steadied into something colder. Fine. If he wanted a scene, I'd give him one. I lifted the glass, tilted my head back, and swallowed. Caleb's smirk lit up the room. He thought he'd won. Minutes later, I stumbled theatrically, asked the waiter for a room, and disappeared upstairs. Caleb rushed to Victoria, his voice loud enough to stir the entire crowd. Tori, I'm so sorry, you need to know. I just saw Ethan sneak upstairs with 10 women. Gasps, murmurs, and then Victoria's fury. She followed him, stormed into the room, and ripped back the covers, only to find 10 women bound and gagged, terrified, their eyes wide. Caleb's face went white. No, I saw him. Where is he? Too late, because downstairs, I was already back, calm as ever, nibbling on a chocolate tart. When Victoria returned, Caleb tried to explain, tripping over his own lies. But she cut him off, her patience gone. Enough, Caleb. When are you going to stop this? And in that silence that followed, I could feel it, the tide shifting. Caleb's rage was venom, pouring into me even without words. Why won't you believe me? Why is she protecting this trash? Don't tell me. She's starting to like him. Victoria Sinclair. Like me? No. I hadn't seen a single sign of it. For a while, Caleb disappeared, but his absence didn't bring peace. The days blurred with wedding preparations. It all felt surreal. Me, an outsider, about to marry into one of the most powerful families in the country. And then came the day. A wedding that looked like it had been ripped from a royal fairy tale. Flowers, chandeliers, crystal gleaming under golden light. My hands shook in my tailored suit as Victoria walked down the aisle. She was breathtaking, untouchable. My chest thundered as I reached for her hand, ready to slide the ring onto her finger. That's when the doors slammed open. Caleb stormed in. Tori, stop. His voice cut through the room like a blade. He threw a stack of photos onto the table. The man in your room that night wasn't him. He's been lying to you. Gasps spread like wildfire. The pictures, grainy, time-stamped, showed a version of me in some dive bar. Hands all over women old enough to be my mother. Caleb wasn't finished. His words were venom wrapped in silk. He's a player. Always has been. Girls left pregnant. Abortion's the parasite. He doesn't deserve you. The crowd turned instantly. The whispers were sharp knives. He looked so clean-cut. What a sleaze. A gold digger. Shameless. Victoria's face drained of color. My world tilted. Desperate, I turned to her. The man in those photos isn't me. Yes, I worked at a bar, but only to pay my grandmother's medical bills. I quit after a few days. And that night at the hotel, I was delivering food. I walked into the wrong room. That's how I ended up with you. I swear, you're the only woman I've ever been with. Her eyes searched me, cold and unreadable. Do you have proof? My throat closed. Proof? How could I prove my private life? How could I prove that night without humiliating her in front of everyone? I shook my head. No. Caleb folded his arms, smug, victorious. No proof means you're lying. I have photos. That's all that matters. For the first time, Mrs. Sinclair snapped. Enough. The day Ethan moved in, I had a full background check done. Those photos are fakes, and you know it. But Caleb pressed harder. Even if his past is clean, that doesn't prove he was in Tori's room that night. We need evidence. The room turned to Victoria. The air was heavy, waiting. Finally, she spoke. If there's no proof, the wedding is canceled. For now, we'll wait until the investigation is complete. The words crushed me. My chest caved in. Mrs. Sinclair pleaded, frantic. Tori, think. You know it was him. You felt it. Don't throw this away. Don't you care about his feelings at all? But Victoria's voice stayed firm. Cold. Final. The wedding is off. Caleb's smile was pure triumph. His eyes said it all. You can't compete with me, Roach. She's always been mine. My fist clenched. Maybe he was right. Maybe Victoria never wanted me at all. Maybe this was just her excuse to finally let me go. Caleb slid an arm around her shoulder, smirking. And you should get that $5 million back too. Can't let him profit off you. Victoria pulled away from his touch. Quietly, she said, that won't be necessary. Back at the mansion, I started packing. If she was going to believe him over me, what was the point of staying? Mrs. Sinclair caught me in the act, her hands wringing with panic. Ethan, please don't go. Tori's being blind. She doesn't see what's right in front of her. If she pushes you away, she'll answer to me. Her kindness nearly broke me, but I shook my head. Thank you, Mrs. Sinclair, for everything, but I think it's best if I leave. I dragged my bag downstairs, and then she appeared. Victoria. Her eyes landed on the duffel in my hand. Where are you going? My jaw tightened. Since you don't believe me, there's no reason to stay. I wish you and Mr. Vance a happy life together. Her brow furrowed. In a sudden flash of anger, she yanked the bag out of my hand. You're not leaving, not until the investigation is finished. Mrs. Sinclair jumped in quickly. She's right, Ethan. Don't go yet. We'll get to the truth. And so I stayed. Days later, the truth came crashing down like sunlight through storm clouds. The photos, cheap, clumsy fakes. Caleb had staged everything. I hadn't lied. I hadn't cheated. I was exactly who I said I was. Caleb tried to wriggle out of the mess he'd made, swearing the photos had just shown up in his mailbox, that he never knew they were fake. But no excuse could shake the weight pressing down on me. Mrs. Sinclair kept reminding me she believed in me, that I was the only man she'd ever accept as her son-in-law, but even her faith couldn't fill the hollow ache inside. Victoria had the hotel footage pulled, desperate for answers, only to discover the recordings from that night had been wiped clean. The blurry paparazzi shot, Useless. Too much time had passed. The truth felt buried under shadows. So I slipped into routine, quiet mornings in the mansion's library, afternoons at my grandmother's bedside. Her recovery was the one bright light cutting through the fog. I told myself that even if Victoria turned her back on me, I'd be okay. I could survive on my own. My bank account was solid now. My pride less so. Caleb didn't let me forget it. Every few days, he'd show up, venom dripping from his smirk. Look in the mirror, trash. Tori will never be yours. One afternoon, he went further, a slap across my face. My instinct screamed to walk away, but I wasn't anyone's punching bag. My fist connected hard, and the shock in his eyes almost satisfied me. Almost. Then came the theatrics, his rage twisting into fake tears. "Ethan, why'd you push me?" I was only telling the truth. Just as I was about to call him out, Victoria stepped into the room. Caleb clutched his cheek, like a wounded saint. "Tori, look what he did. I came here in peace, and he attacked me." I braced myself for her judgment, for her silence. But instead, she walked straight to me, her eyes softening at the sight of my reddened cheek. Her hand lifted, gentle, brushing the sting. "Does it hurt?" I froze. Caleb exploded. "Tori, did you not see my face? Why do you only care about him?" She gave him a cool, sharp look. "If you hadn't hit him first, why would he have hit you back?" His mouth opened, but nothing came out. She'd seen everything. Her fingers threaded through mine. "Come on, let's get some ice for that." She led me out, and behind us, Caleb's fury simmered like acid. I didn't need to hear his thoughts to know. He was planning something darker. The house grew quieter, heavier, as days passed. Then, over dinner, Mrs. Sinclair broke the silence with a spark of mischief in her eyes. "There's a simple way to know if Ethan was truly the man in your room that night." Both Victoria and I froze. "What is it, Mom?" Victoria asked. That sly smile widened. "Your body doesn't lie. You only react to him. So if you two spend the night again, we'll know for sure." The air went up in flames. My face burned. Victoria snapped, "Mom, that's absurd." Mrs. Sinclair just shrugged, as if her logic was undeniable. "What's there to be shy about? It's not like you haven't done it before." I thought the conversation was over, until she casually added, "Oh, and I slipped a little something into the soup. You should be feeling it right about now." My fork clattered against the plate. "What did you do?" Victoria pushed back from the table, only to collapse back into her chair, her breath shallow, her body flushed with heat. My limbs grew heavy too, the fire spreading through me. "Mom." Victoria's voice trembled. "What did you give us?" Mrs. Sinclair only smiled that mysterious smile. "You'll see. Take them upstairs," she told the maids. "It's time." The door shut behind us, and the night unraveled in a blur of heat, instinct, and undeniable connection. Stronger, deeper than the first time. Morning light spilled across the sheets, and there she was, Victoria, sleeping beside me, her face soft and peaceful. My chest ached with a storm of emotions, flashes of passion, of closeness, all tangled with one unbearable truth. She hadn't chosen this. Not really. And I couldn't bear to face her when she woke. So I did the only thing I knew best. I ran. No bags. No words. Just my wallet and ID as I slipped out of the mansion and back to the life I'd left behind. My run-down apartment, my lumpy mattress, the familiar emptiness. But sleep wouldn't come. I tossed. I turned, until the sound of footsteps froze me cold. A shadow moved. Too fast. Too close. Before I could reach the door, a hand yanked me down, and the gleam of a knife cut the dark. Pain split through me as I hit the floor. Then arms. Strong. Protective. Victoria. She was here. The attacker lunged again, but I didn't hesitate. I threw myself in front of her, and fire ripped through my shoulder. Victoria kicked hard, sending him crashing back just as her security burst in to pin him down. I barely heard their apologies. My world was dimming, her voice the only anchor left. Her hand pressed against the wound, trembling. "Ethan, stay with me." Her touch came away red. My vision blurred. The last thing I saw before the darkness swallowed me was her face, frantic, and her arms pulling me close. The hospital room was supposed to be a place of rest, but it turned into a battlefield. Mrs. Sinclair rushed in the moment she heard, her voice tight with panic. How did this happen? Victoria's answer was grim, her eyes on me. He was protecting me, Mom. He got hurt because of me. For a moment, there was warmth, even vindication, in Mrs. Sinclair's voice. She turned on her daughter. See? I told you Ethan was a good, kind boy, not the liar Caleb painted him to be. And you didn't believe it. But before that could sink in, Caleb walked in like he owned the room. His smirk was venom. Don't fall for this, Aunt Carol. It's just a pathetic stunt to win sympathy. He looked right at me, sneering. What a coincidence. Someone tried to kill you. Please, you staged this yourself. We're not that stupid. The pain in my shoulder burned hot, but my anger burned hotter. Are you insane? Why would I hire someone to stab me? Here, let me give you a taste and see how you like it. His mouth stayed shut, but his thoughts betrayed him. Sharp, hateful, undeniable. How is he so damn lucky every time? He should be dead. I'll try again tonight. This time, he won't survive. A chill cut straight through me. Enough was enough. I asked Victoria and her mother to leave, insisting I needed a word with Caleb alone. The second the door shut, I dropped the pretense. Don't bother lying. I know you sent that man last night. His mask slipped, just for a second, shock spilling out. How did you know? He didn't realize his own thoughts had already condemned him. I smiled. So you admit it. And just like that, the act fell away. He leaned back, smug and unrepentant. It doesn't matter if you know. Even if you tell Tori, she won't believe you. We have history. What do you have? His laugh was sharp, ugly. You're a nobody, Ethan. You don't deserve her. The only way I can marry Tori is if you're dead. My rage boiled over. The gala, the drug wine, the women. That was all you. You tried to frame me. He sneered. And what if I did? You can't prove a thing. You'll never beat me. The $1 million check, I pressed. That was you. So you could take my place beside her. His face cracked. Shock. Then fear. But still his arrogance clung tight. You might be smart, Ethan, but it won't save you. You're going to die. And then the door burst open. Victoria and her mother stood frozen in the doorway. They hadn't left. They had heard everything. Caleb's face drained of color. Tori, Aunt Carol, it's not what you think. He's framing me. You've known me my whole life. I wouldn't hurt a soul, but I had proof. I held up my phone, pressed play, and his own voice filled the silence. Every poisonous word. Caleb lunged for it, desperate. But Victoria stepped in front of me like a wall. Her voice was ice. After everything, you still feel no remorse. I never knew you could be this cruel. He broke then, tears spilling as he grabbed for her hand. Tori, please. I only did it because I love you, because I've always loved you. I wasn't thinking straight. She ripped her hand free. Her voice cut like glass. A man with poison in his heart isn't capable of love. And after what you did, after trying to kill Ethan, I will make sure you pay. You are a monster. Mrs. Sinclair's fury shook her voice. I trusted you, Caleb. But this is unforgivable. He collapsed, begging on the floor. Please, Tori, one more chance. Don't do this to me. Her answer was final, unshakable. Impossible. I'm pressing charges. His face twisted in disbelief. How could you do this to me for him? We grew up together. You promised you'd always believe me. Her reply was fierce, every word burning with truth. I won't let anyone hurt Ethan. If I hadn't arrived last night, he wouldn't just be in this bed. He'd be in the ground. Caleb saw it then, the steel in her eyes, and terror replaces arrogance. He crawled to me, slapping his own face, sobbing. Ethan, please. I was wrong. Forgive me. But all I could see was a knife flashing in the dark. My voice came out cold. Everyone pays for what they've done, and I won't forgive the man who tried to kill me. Victoria gave the order. Her guards dragged him out, his desperate screams echoing down the hall. And then silence. Victoria sat on the edge of my bed, her hand finding mine. Her voice softened. At the wedding, I didn't cancel because I doubted you. I canceled because I knew someone was after you. I needed time to uncover the truth without putting you in more danger. Her eyes locked on mine, unwavering. From the first moment you stepped into that mansion, I recognized you. I knew it was you. My body, my heart, they only ever reacted to you. I was just too proud to admit it then. Her voice trembled, but her grip was firm. I'm sorry I didn't protect you better, but I promise from now on, no one will ever hurt you again. She held my hand tight, her eyes shimmering with a softness I'd never seen before. When you're better, she whispered, let's have another wedding, a bigger one. And the truth was, I wanted that too. Somewhere between the fights, the chaos, and the walls of that mansion, I had fallen for her. Beneath that icy front, she was never cold, just stubborn, just afraid to let anyone in. Mrs. Sinclair cut through my hesitation with a firm voice. Ethan, you don't understand. Those 2 days you were gone, she was a wreck. She wouldn't eat, she wouldn't sleep. It nearly destroyed her. Now everything's been cleared up. You can't walk away from this wedding. I looked at Victoria, hope etched on her face, her heart wide open, and I nodded. In that moment, she lit up like I'd never seen before. I'll be a good wife, she promised, her smile radiant. I swear, justice came for Caleb. Prison, a long sentence. Even when his parents came begging, Mrs. Sinclair wouldn't bend. That boy almost killed my son-in-law. The Sinclairs will never forgive him. And with that, the Vance family was cut out of their lives forever. Through it all, Victoria never left me. In the hospital, she was patient, tender, showing me a side of her no one had ever seen. And when I was finally discharged, she wasted no time, planning a second wedding grander than the first. Not just a ceremony, but a statement to the world that she loved me, that I was hers. And she didn't stop there. To make me truly whole, she brought my grandmother to live with us in the mansion. For the first time, I had both love and family under one roof. 2 months later, the news came. Victoria was pregnant with twins. Mrs. Sinclair's joy was unstoppable. A grandmother at last and twins, she boasted anyone within earshot. People once whispered about my daughter. Well, let them whisper now. I wrapped my arms around Victoria, her smile meeting mine, and in that quiet, perfect moment it hit me. For the first time in my life, everything felt exactly as it should be. Whole, complete, perfect,